Welcome to Rage You Nerds. I'm Mr. Cack, and joining me on today's episode will be Nerd Jared and TJ, the heart and funk and soul of it all. We're doing a very Thanksgiving episode, and by that I mean we're talking nothing about Thanksgiving. We're going to actually talk about Ghostbusters, the Frozen Empire. We're super excited. As you can see, I've got Ghostbuster stuff everywhere in here. And so, that's a big deal for us. We hope that you enjoy this episode. Also, we hope that you have a wonderful and happy Thanksgiving if you are watching this during that time. If you're watching this after Thanksgiving, or if you're listening to this after Thanksgiving, we hope it was good, but we hope you have a good day regardless. It doesn't matter if it's the holiday or not. We hope that when you're listening to this that you have fun and you nerd out with us. Feel free to like, follow, subscribe, share this content with your friends, help other people become nerds, and join our nerddom. All right, we'll see you on the next one. Enjoy!
What the hell else are we doing?
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire recently had a teaser trailer. All three of us in some form or fashion have made a reaction video about it. But I would like to sit down, and before we get into this movie starts getting the ball rolling with another trailer on down the road, and we get closer to spring 2024, and we finally see the movie, I'm interested to talk about a couple of points that have either been rumored or that we want to speculate on. So I think the first one is this. There's been some discussion that this movie will be much more thematically inspired by the real Ghostbusters than maybe its predecessors, the Ghostbuster and Ghostbuster 2 of it all, which kind of followed a very similar formula, and Ghostbusters Afterlife kind of followed the same format. What do you think about that, Jared? Are you excited about this being maybe more of a real Ghostbusters live action adaptation?
It would make sense on this one to do it that way, being that, I kind of feel like Afterlife. So Afterlife I feel like it did both. It kind of gave, it kind of had a real Ghostbusters feel in a way, but it also had, and the main thing was, I think, the music that brought you back to part one with some of those original sounds that you hear, and you even hear that in the trailer. But no, I think that would be cool. It's kind of a passing of the torch kind of thing, because we had Ghostbusters, and then we had Ghostbusters 2, and then nothing happened. And then we had the real Ghostbusters. I can't say the word. We had the real Ghostbusters cartoon, and and that was right around the time. Like I probably watched. I think I watched the cartoon before I'd seen the original movie. So like I did, it was kind of like Ninja Turtles. I'd watched all a lot of the cartoons before I'd even seen the original movie. Yeah. So I think in a way it's kind of weird, but in a way it's kind of really, really cool to do it that way, because there was a passing of the torch kind of there. It's like, you guys, you're not going to do another Ghostbusters movie. Fine. Well, we're going to call this the real Ghostbusters, and we're going to continue on this and do what I feel like Ghostbusters probably would have done better. Like, I mean, can you imagine if Ghostbusters had never been made in 84, and let's pretend like it's going to still be as good as it is if somebody made it now, which it is. But like, the movies are great, but like, would Ghostbusters not make just an awesome series? And I think that's what the real Ghostbusters kind of brought to things, is like, now granted, you had these monster demon ghost things out there that, just like were, melting steel, and the Grundle and the Boogeyman. And like, can you imagine if we saw the Boogeyman on screen, in a live action Ghostbusters? Yeah. I'm damn sure be scared. I'm being on myself, but no, I like it, and I think it's a good call. I think this is in a way a passing of the torch. I don't think this is going to be the final thing. I think it's going to be a handoff. I don't think we're going to get just a whole lot more out of it, but I think Afterlife, Frozen Empire, and I think there might be one more, and it could be the greatest trilogy of all time. But that could also even open the door for something else.
TJ, so what comes to your mind when this rumor's floated out there that this might be more real Ghostbusters inspired? And does that make you excited for it?
So what comes to mind more is, they're not going to rely like they did with Afterlife on entities they've already battled, like, Zool, um, and Gozer and Vince Clortho. So, it's not like they're gonna go back to, Vigo the Carpathian. But the fact that they can bring in, characters that may be debuted in, ghosts, entities that debuted in the real Ghostbusters. Maybe they do bring in like the boogeyman for like a montage scene of them busting ghosts. I like what Afterlife did with, the one with the eye that pops out. Because when I saw that in theater, I mean, that took me back to the real Ghostbusters. So I think that's more kind of, if they're relying heavily on that, it's going to be more visually than story or thematically kind of thing. You may see creatures, entities, ghosts that were in the real Ghostbusters, maybe even mentioned over, them chasing one particular ghost throughout, like, the length of the movie kind of thing. Like, you're not going to have like the boogeyman running around New York City causing havoc throughout the entire movie. It's going to be, there's going to be a plot point. It's going to be something that drives them, that gets them to New York. There's going to be, things that are happening, and then, the big reveal of the big blue horned demon thing, I guess.
The
But yeah,
chill.
the death chill.
So when I think of more real Ghostbusters inspired, and you both can correct me if you think I'm wrong in this. I am a lover of all things Ghostbusters, except for after season 3 of the real Ghostbusters, when Lorenzo Music is no longer voicing Peter Venkman, then I kind of to be gone with all of you. But what I really like, especially from the Michael J. Straczynski of it all from the real Ghostbusters, is that the real Ghostbusters seem to have do a better job of pacing out within a 30-minute span, kind of this build up to this monumental threat, and then a resolution to it.
Mm-hmm.
Wherein, I don't know if I necessarily felt Ghostbusters 1 knocked that element out of the park. Like, I thought the Gozer of it all was pretty good, but really, we don't really find out about Gozer until the back half of, like, the start of, like, the third act, and that's where Gozer starts to become more prevalent of it all. And then Ghostbuster Afterlife, since it's just a continuation, it's basically just Ghostbusters 1 redone with a little bit of spice. Not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with that. I love the crap out of Ghostbusters Afterlife. And then Ghostbusters 2 is just Ghostbusters 1 with New Year's Eve and the painting. But there is this struggle. You know what, honestly, if they're gonna do it, I know they have to do a cold opening title card, 15-minute of actually busting a singular ghost, montage, and then the climactic sprint to the actual main bad. That's just how it's gonna go. That's how Ghostbusters movies are formatted. But if they do a change to that, and make it more of like a real Ghostbusters episode, like a really good real Ghostbusters episode. Thinking of like Knock Knock. Knock Knock is basically just a cinematic movie in about 24 minutes animated. But something like that. There's a couple of other really great episodes in those first few seasons and a couple in the later. I'm like the Call to Cthulhu, I thought was a really good one too, where it felt very cinematic in the structure. If they could follow that and maybe just kind of break their formula from the previous versions, I wouldn't be too upset. I appreciate the montages because that's the only way that we get more ghost in our Ghostbuster movies. But It'd be nice if maybe we did see a couple of busts and then the build up to the overarching evil. Speaking of the overarching evil, the only illusion, the only name that we have been given so far is something called the Death Chill, which I assume is not what this creature is actually going to be called. We see what it is doing, and we are told what it does. So we see the ice forming and this frozen hellscape that it brings with it. We see that it's a big blue creature with blue glowing eyes and horns that it plugs into its head. We then find out that what it does is literally scare people to death, and the last thing that a person sees is their eye, like their tear ducts freezing over as it approaches or as they die or whatever. Do you boys have any thoughts, guesses, or speculations as to maybe what the death chill of it all is?
So we kind of we kind of discussed this, that me and you both have a Tobin spirit guide, and
Yep.
I looked through it and we didn't see anything on the death chill. So I don't. I think this is going to be, and again, I didn't go all the way back through my real Ghostbuster stuff, so maybe this is where some of these arguments are coming from. But I don't remember anything that is Mr. Freeze type frozen thing, either in our published versions of Tobin Spirit Guide or in the real Ghostbusters. Not saying it wasn't there in real Ghostbusters, but I don't remember it. So I think this is why I even think it. I said it in the trailer where it's a new ball game. This is new, and which is kind of neat because like there's no reference point, which in I guess you could say in the original there wasn't really a reference point either, but they knew who Gozer was, and which I'm not saying that Dan is not gonna come out of his bookstore and be like, here's a book on the death chill, and because Dan knows everything, or Ray knows everything. Dan probably knows everything too. He's a very smart man. But no, I have absolutely no idea. I think this is a completely made up new character.
Yeah. TJ, what are you thinking? What are some of your thoughts on this death chill?
Yeah, like I agree with Jared. I mean, it's something new, and that's what I like about it. It's got to be something new. Like if the death chill ends up being Vigo,
I'd be pissed.
then I'd probably be pissed. I wouldn't hate Ghostbusters, but it would irritate me a little bit, and it's gonna be, I think, like what Jared was saying with the Tobin Spirit Guide, like it's in the movie that's kind of their go-to reference, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's something completely new, and maybe it's something not in the Tobin Spirit Guide. Maybe it's something else entirely, and that makes it even cooler. Pun intended.
Because it's about a nice monster guy.
But it's and that's kind of where I'm thinking, like with the with the real Ghostbusters kind of tie into it and everything too. It's something new. It's something that's not going to be done before, and it's going to have consequences, I believe. So.
Ooh, sorry. So I agree. I think that this is going to be a new entity, but I hope that they tie it to kind of a pseudo realness to it. Like Gozer, I don't think Gozer is an actual Sumerian god, but the fact that it's referred to as a Sumerian god technically gives it this feeling of, oh, like, okay, Sumeria was a culture that existed. That's awesome. And then Vigo is basically Vlad the Impaler and like Rasputin mixed together and thrown into painting. So it's like one of those
sorrow
things
of Moldavia.
Where they borrow or find ways to make it sound like, you know what, if I squint enough, that probably does fit in with real life. Or if I'm just stupid enough, I just believe, okay, yeah, Gozer's an actual god that the Sumerians worship, and they were all slain by a Thule. I just don't know. Or a slurg or a slog or whatever.
Slore.
Slore.
So I'll tell you this. I do hope that they don't do like a human minion of this creature, like with Vigo is you had Janosch, it was kind of his minion throughout, carried out his bidding throughout the thing. With Gozer, you really didn't have the human minion part of it until Afterlife, which was the dead Ivo Shandor. But you had the Vince Clortho and Zool, who were possessed by dogs, I guess.
And they were basically the human minions, right? Like,
yeah,
they had less agency than Janosch, but they were basically a Janosch type character.
Yeah. Like Janosch had to carry out the bidding throughout the start of it, but the other two were just ended up having to be unlucky,
just had to have sex.
They just had to be people who were possessed and, had probably the greatest night of, Tully's life.
That he never
I
will
like how-
remember.
I like how like none of that is ever even mentioned. Like if they even like, I do want something like that.
Until
It's like-
Afterlife. Until Afterlife. I think Afterlife you get canonical confirmation that they hooked up because Gruberson and Callie are like, did we? And Callie's like, let's not talk about it. So I think canonically we have confirmation that, yeah, Rick Moranis got in that. he gave her some multivitamins.
he did her, then did her taxes.
He gave her some real Nova Scotia salmon.
Ted and Ned. There's an episode of Key and Peele. It's a Halloween themed episode, and the Jordan Peele answers the door. And it's Ted and Ned, and his name is Vince Clortho and stuff like that. It's like, oh man, this guy loves Ghostbusters too. I hope he gets in a Ghostbusters movie at some point. I don't know if I want him to make a Ghostbusters movie, but I'd love to see him in a Ghostbusters movie. Now to get back to the death chill of it all, here are some things I'm going to throw out there. You tell me if there's anything that we can run with. So the death chill is technically kind of one of the concepts of your body dying, right? There are the stages of, there's rigor mortis, livor mortis, and then there's a stage called algor mortis, not Al Gore mortis, but algor mortis, which is literally called the death chill, which is the portion of when your body starts to dramatically drop body temperature after you've died. So I think that if this creature ends up being called algor mortis, I'm not going to be too stunned. Additionally, we see, TJ and I affixed to it. I feel like, Jared, you also made a note of it, but there is a small clip in the trailer where it looks like a flashback is occurring, where you see some old-timey people, maybe someone's wearing like a cowboy hat, but it's really shadowed out. It's hard to really make notice of what it is. TJ and I discussed it as that's probably when we see a flashback, probably the cold open, where we see the first instance of this death chill happening. But when and how could a death chill happen and they make it work in universe without just fabricating something? The sleuths on GhostbusterFans.com, GBFans.com, have had this to say. There is actually a moment in our history in 1816, the year without a summer, a volcanic eruption happened so massive in scale that it caused weather aberrations, mass famine, and agricultural crisis. And what that meant for North America, specifically the Northeast, where, I don't know if you know this, that's where Ghostbusters are located, is that a dry fog lingered throughout the summer while the temperature dropped. And if you remember the trailer, we see that very foggy mist kind of pushing its way in as we assume the supernatural terror is coming in.
Yeah.
So I think that there is a chance here that there might be some super sleuths out there that might be hitting where this is leading. So I'll be kind of interested to see if that pays off. Now, my question to you is that there's been some speculation on the Ghostbuster Nerds discussion boards of whether this is a demon or spirit or whatever the malevolent force is with horns that just uses freezing and temperature manipulation as its weapon, or because the voiceover narration in the trailer talks about the creature scaring you to death, is it more of a psychological thing and the ice is just kind of a manifestation as someone's fear? Do you want to see this as more a psychological, it just gives you whatever you're terrified and tries to kill you with that, or it's a purely ice controlling monster, or some mixture of both? TJ, what do you want?
I kind of want some mixture of both. Something like, I think the psychological one would be better storytelling, but you need the visual aspect of it. And so maybe it's something that scares you so bad and then maybe reaches out and touches you, and then that's when you kind of freeze.
Yeah. Jared, what about you? What do you want more of?
Well, I'm kind of with TJ too. I think the psychological aspect tells a little bit better of a story, but the visual aspect is also, being frozen is something like, well, it's something nobody wants to have happen to him, man. But no, I think frozen or cold or something. Same way with excessive heat. Like those are just visuals that are very stimulating. When you watch ice on screen and you hear the wind, you get cold. Your brain goes,
Yeah.
"Ooh, that's cold," and like you could be in a 70 degrees theater and you will mentally, some of us will start feeling colder, even though the temperature has not changed. Same way if you present the hot kind of side of things. So I think those visuals are important. But however they do it, I'm probably going to be happy with, unless it just comes in and he's like, I'm the ice monster and I can blow ice everywhere. And the last thing you see is your tear ducts before I kill you. After you're frozen, I just chop your head off, and he's not really even a ghost. I don't know. That would be very disappointing. But I think the psychological aspect has to be there too. And I think this is a perfect scenario where those two can kind of blend together. Yes, it is psychological. Maybe what gets you to stop so you can be frozen is that fear. So it scares you to death, but it scares you to the point where you can't move. Then he can freeze you and take your soul. I don't know. But I like the blending of them both.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'd be cool if like the crux of the freezing is that if you're scared of the creature, you are susceptible to be frozen. Or if he touches you or gets you in his grasp, you're frozen. I really like the idea that if you're scared of him, that's what causes you to start to freeze. So the only way to combat him, I know it's kind of the hokey Ghostbuster 2's Let's All Sing Happy Songs, and it's kind of the Sandman of the real Ghostbusters.
Can't be afraid of it.
If you're not afraid of him, then you take away his power. It's also how you defeat Pennywise, Freddy Krueger. And my thing is, I don't care because people are getting upset that we're discussing the psychological side of, well, doesn't that just make it Pennywise? I don't care. I really don't care. I think that there are some good iterations of things out there that are just other things. And if it works, it works. Like it doesn't make anything less. And my also point is this. I kind of want to see the Ghostbusters bust Pennywise. If we're just being absolutely honest, I would love to see that, and I'm not going to be too disappointed if we get an equivalent of that. Last couple things. We see a lion. It looks like the New York Public Library's lion. Yep. Are we going back and getting the Gray Lady? We all kind of talked about it in our trailer reactions. I just want us to talk about it together. I want it. TJ's idea was maybe it would be a montage moment or something that was already happened in the past, and maybe she got out again, so we go back there and revisit. Jared, do you want to see them bust the Gray Lady as kind of the first ghost that gets busted in this movie?
That would be kind of neat. It's kind of like, because they never busted her, so it would be kind of like an unfinished business kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It's like they get called for that. Like that could be a great cold open, because that would be a great montage to the original movie and a great follow-up to the sequel to not the reboot, but the sequel to the sequel. You know what I'm saying? If they're like, hey, they never, my granddad never finished this business. Let's go talk to this girl. She may, or it could be one of them. She may know answers about this. I don't think it's going to be that way. She's just a quiet little librarian who wants to be left alone. And Venkman was all, get her, or Ray was all, get her. And then she got pissed. I think she's probably pretty calm. They may want to have a chat with her. I don't know. But no, when it showed the line, I was 100% thinking, okay, we're going back to the library for some regard. I agree with TJ that it's going to be some sort of, it's either going to be the opening. I really think that it's either going to be the opening or it will be part of some montage. I think the opening sells better. Them being in the library, sort of back in New York, trying to figure this out. We're kind of new Ghostbusters kind of thing. Because you could lead that in a lot of different directions. But if it's part of a montage later when all the freezing starts happening, that's the other thing that made me think of it. It's like it's one of the only scenes in that where it's not showing ice spikes out of the ground. So whatever they do with it, I'm probably going to enjoy just because it's going to be a throwback and I love throwbacks. But it would be a great opening if that and that could be, maybe they don't get her, Ray. And they still can't do it. And like that could be them running out of the library and then the lion coming to life as they're running away. There's so many things you could do with that. I'm going to be excited either way. TJ, what do you think? Or you've already probably told everybody what you think, but you haven't told me. So summarize it in like 6 words.
I think it will be cool.
Bravo, TJ.
Yeah, so
Bravo.
as for getting the Gray Lady, I think you're definitely going to be going back to the New York Public Library. Whether they get the Gray Lady or not, whether the Gray Lady's there or not, but it's got to be something. Part of me thinks, like what Jared said, it's something that's like everything's not frozen over, so it's got to be early in the movie. So that may be one of those things that, is happening, to recall the Ghostbusters to get them back out there kind of thing. It's like people like, hey, I heard this place was haunted. Oh, cool. Look at the lions. And then the lions just like, rawr, It's like, wait a minute. Is that the gay lion from South Park?
Found him.
But, you get it. It's like, it's got to be something that there's definitely going to be something at the New York Public Library, and it's going to be something quick. It's not going to be something extensive. But they're definitely going back. Whether it's the Gray Lady or not, or someone else, I can't wait to see the movie to find out for sure.
Hey, are you sick and tired of politicians who make empty promises, say one thing and do another, and seem to be more concerned with their own personal agendas than with the well-being of their constituents? Well, fret no more, my fellow citizens, because I'm here to introduce you to the revolutionary product that's about to change the way you view politics. Congress be gone! Congress be gone is the ultimate political pest control solution, guaranteed to eliminate the most stubborn and entrenched politicians from the halls of power. Simply point and spray, and watch as your unwanted representatives vanish into thin air, leaving behind nothing but a lingering sense of satisfaction and a renewed faith in the democratic process. Tired of hearing Senator Ted Cruz shout his nonsensical rhetoric? With Congress be gone, you can finally silence his voice and enjoy a peaceful Ted Cruz-free existence.
Now you're telling me.
Had enough of Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene's outlandish conspiracy theories? With Congress be gone, you can banish her to the far reaches of the internet, where her bizarre ideas can no longer pollute the minds of decent, rational people.
Donald Trump is defiant.
Frustrated by Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's unrealistic Green New Deal? With Congress be gone, you can send her packing to a world where unicorns are real and rainbows shoot out of every cloud.
Green New Deal up!
Don't get me started on Senator Joe Manchin, whose political flip-flops make a chameleon look like a pillar of stability. With Congress be gone, you can finally get rid of this indecisive fence sitter and have someone in office who actually knows what they stand for.
I like that. No, I don't. Up!
But that's not all. Introducing Pressaway, the revolutionary button that gives you the power to temporarily remove the president from office. Whether you're tired of their policies, their personality, or just their face, Pressaway lets you take a break from the presidential drama and enjoy some much-needed peace and quiet. With Pressaway, you can finally take a break from the endless scandals, the never-ending tweets, and the constant political bickering. Just press the button, and the president will disappear, leaving you with a peaceful respite from the madness of Washington, D.C. And to celebrate the launch of these amazing products, we're offering a special limited-time deal. Buy one Congress Be Gone and get a Pressaway button absolutely free. That's right, for the low, low price of just $19.99. Hell yeah, I'm in. You can finally get rid of the politicians you hate and enjoy some much-needed peace and quiet from the president. So what are you waiting for? Order your Congress Be Gone today and start taking back control of your government. Together, we can make America a better place, one politician at a time. Remember, Congress Be Gone. The only thing more satisfying than spraying it on a politician is watching them disappear. Yes!
I cried at one point. Sometimes,
That's good stuff.
sometimes you just have to sit there and keep telling the AI, do it again, but make it more detailed and funnier. I sat there and told that thing to it like 3 times until it finally got this finished product. I'm very pleased with it.
Ditto.
What if they subvert our expectations for those of us that are like, oh, we see the lion, that's the New York Public Library, it's gonna be the Gray Lady. What if it's just the lion and we see the lion a little bit, then the ghost comes out of the lion, books it into the library, the Gruberson Spangler family Ghostbuster collective is chasing it down, and then someone, probably Paul Rudd's character because he would have the great comedic timing with it, is like lost in the library, comes upon the Gray Lady, she shushes him and he's like, oh sorry. He just like goes on to try to find the ghost they're actually after, so we just get like a Gray Lady cameo.
That would be awesome.
I would be fine with that too.
Get us, Jason Reitman. Hire us to be your screenwriters. We don't have to write the thing. Just let us proof it.
Just that scene right there would just be awesome, 100% by itself. It's just like, hey, excuse me, did you see where the ghost went? And then, shh, sorry, and then turn around and run off.
And that's a Paul Rudd thing, right? Like you can visualize Paul Rudd doing that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The last thing I wanted, the last big thing, and then just a small little thing at the end. The last big thing is we have a new Ghostbuster. It's basically confirmed. We just don't know who the heck he is. We see a young guy with glasses. He first appears behind Celeste O'Connor's Lucky's character and Trevor, which is Finn Wolfhard's character, which looks like they're in an elevator. So I assume that he's chaperoning them to some degree as they are making some kind of house call or do some kind of research. And then later on, we see him in the trailer wearing the red Ghostbuster Arctic jacket. He has a patch. We can't read what the patch says. And then TJ and I actually slowed it down on the video and watched it frame by frame. And you kind of can see the outline of a strap from a Ghostbuster proton pack on one shoulder and the vague out. It's hard to tell because of how the light is angled on him in the scene, but you kind of can tell that he's wearing a proton pack on his back. So who is this new Ghostbuster, and why the hell is it not a grown-up version of Oscar?
Has it been confirmed that it's not a grown-up version of Oscar?
It hasn't. Nothing has been confirmed, and if it is a grown-up version of Oscar, they are never going to say it. So I have 3 ideas. I want you boys both to tell me which idea you prefer the most. Idea 1, it is just a rookie. They maybe don't give him a name, maybe they just give him a nickname, and he's kind of just the errand boy of the entire show. Kind of like your character in the Ghostbusters, the video game, where you're basically just called the rookie, and sometimes they call you Bub and stuff like that. And then at the end, they're kind of just like, oh yeah, Kevin was here, wasn't he? And he's like, yeah, guys, thanks. Or it is grown-up Oscar, and he is taking the mantle of Peter Venkman. We assume Peter's probably either going to be killed or immobilized at some point in this, because Bill Murray looked like he gave all sorts of little fucks in the trailer when he is staring at what I presume is his death, or at least his removal from the rest of the movie. Or my third option is one that I've thought about, and I don't know how it fully works, but why not? What if this character is the son of Walter Peck? And Walter Peck, whether by becoming more friendly with the Ghostbusters just out of government finances, he's decided, well, you know what? Or this son is being, rebellious to his father, and he's like, my father hated these guys, so I wanted to be a Ghostbusters because I looked up to him when I was a kid, or whatever bullshit you want to come up with. Or Walter now has a higher government position, and the best way he can think of to give it to the Ghostbusters is to nepotism his son into their organization, so that way he's basically his eyes within. TJ, Jared, which of those 3 options do you like the best, or do you have a 4th option that you prefer? TJ, we'll start with you.
I like the Oscar reference. I mean, they showed him twice in the trailer, and he's, wearing the jacket and the proton pack, presumably. So So that tells me he's going to have a pretty significant part in the movie. I don't know that this movie needs a subplot of Walter Peck trying to infiltrate the Ghostbusters and tear them down from the inside. That, I mean, if this were a series, I think could be a subplot for a series, but I don't think it needs to be like a subplot in the movie. So I would think, it's got you'd almost have to have it be Oscar. I mean, if it's not Oscar, then why is the character not named on IMDb?
True.
Right?
Jared, which pathway do you want, and why is it Oscar?
So the only other thing about the Walter Peck thing that I'll say is, like, what if it turns out that Walter Peck is actually the Death Chill guy? He turns another leaf and he's like, if I can't beat him through legal government grounds, I'm going to invent a Mr. Freeze machine.
He was with the Environmental Protection Agency last we saw, and
they know about global warming and stuff. So apparently, I don't know. I think we give them too much money personally to tell us that, like, toads live in water. Thanks, EPA. Appreciate that. Don't set tires on fire. It's bad for the environment. You guys are killing it. Appreciate that. All right, cool. I do like the Oscar thing, but again, we have to go with the premise that Part 2 never took place. Because Afterlife, which is not to say that some elements of Part 2 could not have happened, but
why are we going with the premise that Part 2 never took place?
Because Afterlife is supposed to be a direct sequel to the first movie with complete disregard for Ghostbusters 2. Cack, back me up on that. Am I just making that up?
So so it's so weird, right? Because this is another point of contention within the fan base, is that there's no clear definition. A lot of people assume, because I don't think Jason Reitman has ever come out and definitively said one way or the other. But because the clip that Gruberson shows the kids of, the Ghostbusters was from the original Ghostbusters, them going to Dana Barrett's apartment for that climactic moment. And sure, it was just kind of to show his scene when he was a kid that got cut from the actual movie. But also it's like, there's that, but why wouldn't you show the clip of the literal Statue of Liberty walking if Ghostbusters 2 was a thing? And, like, that would be a big deal, right? Because every kid would know what the Statue of Liberty is, and the fact that it's now parked in downtown New York City.
No, didn't at the end of it they move it back, though?
Did they? We never saw it. Oh,
we never saw them move it back, but it was back.
You're right. We get the pan shot of Ellis Island when.
Yeah.
But see, I don't see anything. I've never seen anything where Jason Reitman said that Ghostbusters Afterlife is a direct sequel to the first one, and Part 2 never happened.
Jason Reitman never said that. That's all a fan contention thing.
He doesn't clarify. He could alleviate all of this and just say,
I thought there was like an
canon.
interview something where he said that we're not, Vigo could come back. We're not completely excluding the second one.
Yeah,
kind of thing. But
if it's not in the film, though, does it like? That's my thing. If it's not in the film, and if it's not directly in the film, we had so many little cutesy Easter eggs. They could have thrown one thing from Ghostbuster 2 in there. They could have had a jar of the mood slime, right? They could have just had a jar of the mood slime.
Did they have the toaster?
Okay. Did they? If it's not dancing, TJ, is it the toaster or is it just Egon likes toast? He likes spores, mold, fungus, toast.
Well, no, hang on. He likes toasters too.
Yeah. Well, he could have. If Trevor would have stuck his hand in it and been like, oh, the old man-eating toaster.
Old man-eating toaster. All right.
But
all right.
Yeah. So, Jared, which one do you want?
Yeah, whatever. Oscar. It's Oscar. Fuck, I don't care. Yo, Nerdy Nation, get ready. Yo, Nerdy Nation, get ready for a wild ride because our favorite deodorizer is here to funk your farts. That's right, it's Snoop Dogg's Doo-Doo Deodorizer, the spray that transforms your toots into a magical marijuana. The spray that transforms your toots into a magical marijuana mist. Imagine your gas making. Imagine your gas making people question if they've accidentally stepped into a Snoop concert. That's the power of Doo-Doo Deodorizer. Add that at post. So, you're at a party, right? You feel the pressure building. You're about to unleash a symphony of stink. Just a quick spritz of Snoop Dogg's Doo-Doo Deodorizer, and suddenly your butt blasts smell like a VIP pass to the green room. It's the ultimate party trick. You'll have everyone scratching their heads, wondering if you're secretly puffing on the good stuff. And the best part, our formula is so hush-hush, even the Illuminati can't track the scent code. Order now and you'll score a limited edition air freshener shaped like Snoop's favorite. Order now and you'll receive... Order now and Order now, and you'll score a limited edition air freshener shaped like Snoop's favorite leaf. Hang it proudly and let the world know you're behind his dropping beats. So whether you're gaming, podcasting, or just chilling in your mom's basement, make your gas game legendary with Snoop Dogg's Doo-Doo Deodorizer. Elevate your emissions and grab yours today. Because when life hands you gas, make it smell like grass. Keep it nerdy and keep it funky.
I'm crying laughing. All right, the last small thing, the one thing I haven't seen talked about nearly a gosh dang enough, and it's something that we had a question about at the end of Ghostbusters Afterlife. Is Slimer showing up in this?
No.
Oh, Jared?
No.
Oh.
I think
I'd go opposite. I'd say yeah.
I feel like they might have had a chance to do it in Afterlife, even if just for a second, even if at the final shot where it's going back into New York, him like on the camera on the last shot just to give us, kind of like at the end of part one. I feel like they would have done it. Now, which is not to say that Ivan won't be like, no, we got to have Slimer. If it is there, it's going to be a part like it is in Ghostbusters 2, where it's like they pull up and he's driving a bus, or something like that. It's okay, but I didn't know you had your license. I like how Lewis is just so like, well, all right then, I got to get downtown.
You know what? Lewis totally got action in that film too. Him and Janine were rubbernecking.
He did.
He's the most. The kids would say he's got Riz, is what the kids would say.
Yeah.
TJ, what about this? Do we get Muncher? Does Muncher become the new Slimer? Do we see Muncher pop up in this?
I think Muncher becomes the new Slimer at this point. I think that's. Slimer's had his day. I think Slimer is more, you remember more Slimer through the real Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And this one is, it's essentially it's a new series of movies. I think Muncher's going to be the.
Keep in mind also too, between the Ghostbusters 1 and Ghostbusters 2, you had something happen, which was the real Ghostbusters, because I think the first season of that was in 88.
I don't know, but there is a point because Ghostbuster 2 actually does borrow some elements from the real Ghostbusters, and then the changes that Ghostbuster 2 makes then gets introduced into the real Ghostbusters with Janine, and there's actually an episode where they use the mood slime and make references to the second film.
So that's what I was gonna say is I think that Slimer, which again Slimer's character is loosely based on John Belushi, But like his character was never supposed to be bad, but it was never supposed to be good. It was supposed to be this gluttonous thing that showed up and then it's rid of. And then I think you had the success of the real Ghostbusters, and they thought, let's throw a little bit of this in and go, because there's the one scene in the firehouse too, where Slimer is eating Lewis's lunch, and they see each other and they're like, oh, and they take off, and so it gives kind of an indication that Slimer's still around. They must have let him out, right?
If they didn't, then what I assume is going to happen is that, much like what probably happened in the first movie, is that Slimer's going to get out when the containment unit gets destroyed. The trailer shows us a moment where the containment unit looks like it's about to be destroyed. I assume Slimer breaks out. What I think we'll get is maybe a Slimer little moment in a cameo of ghost shenanigans and chicanery. TJ, Jared, then myself. TJ, in the moment where the ghost hell breaks loose and we see the kind of different things that we've gotten in every movie where they just kind of cut through different scenes of showing ghosts terrorizing the populace, what kind of either real Ghostbusters ghost or Ghostbusters toy ghost would you like to see make a pop-up like we got with the toilet monster ghost in Ghostbusters Afterlife?
There's a toilet monster ghost in Ghostbusters Afterlife?
I'm pretty sure, right? Did I make that up in my head? I thought we got the toilet ghost in it.
Did we?
I don't know. At this point, I'm drunk.
I don't. Well, so
are we gonna have a big containment spill, like with Ghostbusters 1?
Well,
I mean, we see in the trailer like the wall starting to crack. Now, here's my theory about this death chill thing: is it could also, like with the whole psychological thing, it could make you see things that could scare you to death. And so that may be a vision of something that doesn't actually happen.
Yeah. Nope. Okay, it was the eyeball ghost that you had mentioned earlier, TJ. Just in my mind, I wanted it to be the toilet ghost.
So I think you could see I don't, there's too many to throw in there, but none of them are like really quick though. Like the ones, I don't know how you could pay homage to the Grundle or Sam Hain or Boogeyman or even the witch when they went to Louisiana and Egon turned into a witch. Was that the same episode, or I just make that up? No, Louisiana was ragtime booze.
Yes.
But like there's so many of them, but there were well, okay. I think one of the things you could do, and I think that I would like to see, is like in Knock Knock. If you had a demon subway train just automatically show up, that would be really cool, and it could be done really quick. A nice thing for the fans. You wouldn't have to make a whole story about it. You wouldn't even have to get into the "do not open to that little devil thing on the door.
Just show me a live action possessed subway
Demon
train full of grody ass skeletons that look like the cabbie driver from the first movie and the miner sitting in the diner in Afterlife. Give me that, terrify my children when they see that, and make me feel a little bit kind of ooked out by it, and I'll call it a good day. Just like we're gonna call this episode a good day.
Yeah.
This is going to come out on Thanksgiving. You're welcome, America. So, TJ, first you, then Jared, then myself. Boys, you got anything you're thankful for this nerdy Thanksgiving, TJ?
I'm thankful we got a Ghostbusters Frozen Empire trailer.
Yeah. Jared, anything that your nerdy heart's thankful for?
Oh, there's too many things to name. I'm thankful for so many things. I'm thankful that I get to do this with you guys every Friday night. I'm thankful, obviously, for family and work and stuff like that. I'm thankful that, with TJ, I'm thankful that we get a new Ghostbusters movie. But I'm also thankful that, getting time to hang out with friends and family this next week is gonna be fun, because it's really it's three weeks out of the year where I really get to see family. I got Christmas, I got Thanksgiving, and then I got a weekend in July, and so that's kind of nice. I don't know who all is gonna be over on Thanksgiving, but I do know I'm thankful also for the copious amounts of food that I'm going to be partaking in, and will hopefully, if God wills it, pass out on the couch while watching a football game, because that is a Thanksgiving tradition. Much like going out and playing football in the field next door, but we don't do that anymore because we're all over 40, and that sucks.
I am thankful that you two sons of bitches and Al are too stupid to bail on this just yet. I am thankful that ChatGPT has made my life so much easier that I've stopped putting thought into doing this at all. The computer will just handle it from here. And I am thankful for anyone that listens to us on any platform, any fashion, any medium. We appreciate it. Your support, even if you think it's minuscule in nature, is a huge part of why we do it, because if not, then we're just doing it for ourselves, and you know what? I don't have an issue with that at all. This has been Rage, you nerds! This has been Ghostbuster Talk. This has been Thanksgiving. We hope that you are eating yourself full, that you are becoming the Slimer glutton monster of your own universe. We will see you on the next one. Make sure that you become a true nerd. You join our Facebook group, which is Rage You Nerds, the Nerddom, and that you follow us on all of our social media platforms. We're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on Facebook, we're on X or Twitter, whatever you're going to call it. Also, YouTube channel, check it out. We have some hilarious content coming out that was written by ChatGPT and Google Bard. The AI of it all is hilarious as we read it first time, our initial reactions, and it is just the most insane stuff that we could come up with because we didn't come up with it. All right, Rage Nerds, we're out. See you next time. Bye! Nailed it. I'll throw in some anime girl singing, and people just be like, "Okay, that's a thing."
That's a thing. So,
which is what I threw in at the end of the doo-doo deodorizer.
Oh yeah.
just some random anime future funk song, and you and TJ with Jason the pixel art. And it's just like Hanya Huda it's just there. It doesn't make any damn sense, but it makes me laugh. So you're welcome.
So I ain't gonna do it tonight. I'll probably do it when I get home tomorrow. But I'm going to officially finish clipping, and I think I can get the rest of Five Nights at Freddy.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, it's not that it's bad. It's just that there's a lot of this in the movie. There's a lot of this, and there's not a lot of stabbing people and such. So I found myself like, there are points where I'm just like, there's like a 4-minute stretch where I was like, I'm just watching. I don't say a word. And so, because I'm just like in my head, I'm like, what in the hell is going on here?
Jared, have you ever watched Willy's Wonderland?
Not yet.
What you should do, and what you should make a video on, is watch Willy Wonderland, and then you should do like here are the 3 things that Willy Wonderland does better than Five Nights at Freddy's.
Okay. All right. Let me write that down real quick before I forget it.
Because YouTube audiences, for some stupid fucking reason, like here are the 12 things that you missed. And it's like 8 of the things are things that you didn't miss. And then like there's like the one thing that's like, oh yeah, I guess I did miss that. And then the other 3 are things that aren't actual things. It's just the person's fucking with you to eat up time.
Yeah,
but I think we need to start doing more. I think if you want to see if we can make some needle movement, you got to start doing these stupid. Here's our theory on blah, 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 why cats shit in lines. I don't know.
Okay, all right. So Willy's Wonderland versus Five Nights at Freddy's, kind of.
TJ, I don't know, but I went on my daughter's field trip to. There's a big cat refuge up here in Northwest Arkansas.
Is that over in Gentry?
There's one next door to me too.
It's God, where were we going? Kind of like Gentry, right? Maybe that way. I think it's like going to like Eureka Springs.
Oh no, other way.
But like I went there and I was walking with her, and at the end they're like, we have this fake bobcat poop. Come and look at it. What I learned is that poop is just a bigger version of the shit that my cat does here. So like now in my mind, lions are just taking big cat shits out in the safari, and it's like that's stupid. They have the most effeminate little shit. King of the jungle, my ass. My daughter has heftier shits than these cats.
Oh.
Tigers are even
Tigers
bigger than
take-
lions.
Lions taking shits out in the wild, and I'm like, that's stupid. I love that.
Why don't they shit the
Oh.
toilet like the rest of us?
I don't know why, but like while we were finishing up the podcast, it just kind of dawned on me. Ghostbusters 2, Raise a Cult.
You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. I mean,
I don't
it could be an alternate universe where Ray was always destined to have raise a cult.
Yeah.
but you're not wrong. You're not wrong. That is the most definitive thing that we have to draw to it is that the red phone and raise a cult. And
Works
technically
for
the
me.
glasses he wears, are the same
glasses,
glasses he wore
yeah.
in Ghostbusters 2. But that's all very Ray occult centric.
Yeah.
I think Patton Oswalt's going to be the human underling, if we're just being honest, TJ.
Yeah, I think so.
If you watch it with closed captions, he is listed as Hubert, and that sounds like a betraying ass motherfucker name if I've ever heard one.
It's fair.
And then
Hubert's
I don't know.
a cult.
And then I don't know who Camille Nanjiani's supposed to be, but it looks like he's supposed to be prominent. My guess would be like, hey, if they're trying to, in the second one, try to find like a clean sweep. So he's either going to be a damsel, where he's like the one that has like some tie to the relics and everything, or he could be our new everyman to be like the Winston proxy. Like if we're developing this new Ghostbuster team, he's probably someone out there that's just a New Yorker living life, gets caught up in all this shit, and now he like joins the forces of the Ghostbusters, and then by the end he becomes one, and then he'll say something like, "This isn't worth an extra $5 a year." Or I hope he tells someone that he's seen shit. I've seen shit
that'll
turn you white. Because then, if they don't do Patton as the betraying human scumbag, then he could be the pseudo proxy for Ray, right? Just someone that's like nerdily obsessed with the supernatural. Maybe doesn't go out in the field. So maybe he's like a pseudo proxy of like Lewis and Ray, where he's the nerdy hands-off guy. Like, he'll go through Tobin's Spirit Guide, and he'll find all the information for you, and he'll lay it out, and he'll probably spend way too much time doing it, and then Gruberson will say something witty and sarcastic, and then they'll get the hell out of there. And then you'll worry,
I don't
like,
know.
is Hubert,
You just
sniffing
wrote a
panties?
movie.
Yeah.
I agree with Jared. I think they should make Ghostbusters a series. Like,
Be a good
fuck all
series.
this other stuff that pumps up. Give us whoever new guy is with glasses. Make him a young Ghostbuster
Seriously.
1, and then make the others young Ghostbusters 2. Make 10 episodes. Put it on Amazon Prime or something.
Put it on HBO
Done.
Max or Amazon Prime. Yeah. I mean, you can do like it could be a Ghost of the Week kind of thing, and then
It
till
sets up
the
perfectly.
big bad.
I mean, if you don't believe it would work, just go look at Supernatural lasting for 15 seasons.
Yeah.
Supernatural was basically Scooby-Doo meets Ghostbusters meets hardcore violence.
Yeah, not only 15 seasons, but like 20 plus episodes per season.
Yeah, and I'm not even asking for that. Give me high quality 8 episodes and I'll be good.
Yeah.
I'll complain and bitch and moan in the moment and say I wish I had more, but realistically, I don't want 20 episodes. You'll fuck it up.
Yeah. And on that note, I am going to bed.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.